If you're over 60, you know the feeling, right? That little ache in your knee when you're just getting the mail, or maybe that tightness in your hip after a couple of flights of stairs. And what's the one piece of advice we all get from our doctors? Yep, just walk more. Get your 30 minutes in. Keep moving. I mean, it sounds so simple, so logical. But what if that well-meaning advice is actually making things worse? Let's really dig into this because it's a huge deal. New findings, combined with some incredibly smart practices from Japan, are suggesting that for a lot of us, walking as our main form of exercise could be speeding up the exact wear and tear we're trying so hard to prevent. And that brings us to what I like to call the walking paradox. How can something that was so good for you at one age suddenly become a problem later on? Well, the answer is all about how our bodies change over the years. Just look at the slide, it's a pretty dramatic shift. Back in your 40s, walking is fantastic. That impact actually helps build bone density, it strengthens your muscles. But after 60, the whole equation can just flip. That very same impact starts to wear away at cartilage that just doesn't repair itself like it used to. And any tiny misalignment you have gets magnified, causing force to be distributed unevenly, almost like it's carving into that precious cushioning. So here's the bottom line. You're taking thousands of repetitive, jarring steps, usually on hard pavement. And you combine that with even a tiny imbalance, maybe from a tight hip flexor or one foot that turns out just a little bit. Suddenly, you've created this focused, grinding force right inside your joint. And that is the cruel irony. The very activity you're doing to stay mobile might be what's pushing you toward a walker. But there is an alternative. And it comes from a place where staying mobile well into your 90s is way more common: Japan. We are talking about a simple, incredibly powerful 3-minute routine you do on the floor. You see, this isn't about logging more miles, it's about smarter movement. This routine completely eliminates the jarring impact of walking. Instead, it focuses on resetting your body's natural alignment and flooding your joints with synovial fluid. That's the natural lubricant they are absolutely desperate for. And just look at the potential here. Take Diane, a 72-year-old retired postal worker. She was skeptical, to say the least. She said the movements looked like something a little kid would do. But just 2 weeks into this routine, she felt such a huge change that she actually canceled her knee replacement consultation. That's the kind of power we're talking about. So what is this routine? It's really simple. It's just 3 distinct movements. You do each one for 1 minute, and they have to be done in a specific sequence because each one actually prepares your body for the next. It's a really intelligent sequence. First, we have the frog pole, which targets your hips. Then we move to the seated spiral, which lubricates your spine. And finally, the supine march, which actually rewires your brain for better balance. Okay, so first up is the frog pole. This movement is all about waking up those crucial muscles that support your hips and knees. It's about resetting the balance that we lose after years of sitting and, frankly, working with all sorts of compensations. Now, here's why this is so dang effective. It is not a stretch. It's what's called an active release. You're gently contracting and then releasing your inner thigh muscles, your adductors. What this does is it tells your nervous system, hey, it's safe to let go here. That improves hip mobility and wakes up the muscles that stabilize your kneecap, which can really help reduce that awful grinding feeling. Martin, a 67-year-old former construction worker, he described the feeling perfectly. After just 60 seconds of this one movement, he stood up and felt an immediate difference. He said it felt like someone had literally oiled his knee. That's what restored muscle balance and joint lubrication feels like. All right, next up, we have the seated spiral. Now, this one might seem a little counterintuitive, right? Because a lot of us have been told to avoid twisting, especially if our backs are stiff. But trust me, this is a game changer. So here's the thing. Our modern lives are all forward and back. We sit, we walk, we almost never rotate. This gentle, supported twist lubricates all those tiny little facet joints in your spine and wakes up dormant stabilizer muscles. It restores a plane of motion that our bodies are absolutely craving, and that's often the key to getting rid of that chronic back stiffness. I mean, just look at Susan's story. For years, she slept with a heating pad because of constant back pain. After she was taught the difference between a harmful twist under a heavy load and this supportive, gentle rotation, she gave it a try. And within 2 weeks, her pain had gone down so much that the heating pad went into the closet for good. And finally, we have the third and, maybe the most important movement of all, the supine march. This one is less about your muscles and much more about retraining your brain. You see, walking is a cross-body pattern. Your right arm moves forward with your left leg, and so on. But as we age or get injured, that pattern starts to break down. It becomes asymmetrical. This movement, done lying on your back, takes gravity and the fear of falling completely out of the equation. It lets your brain focus purely on rebuilding that clean, symmetrical left-right pattern. It's basically neurological recalibration. And the results? Well, it can be life-changing. George, who is 79, had fallen twice, and his family was starting to push him toward assisted living. After 3 weeks of this simple routine, he got his stability and his confidence back. The supine march didn't just strengthen his legs, it rebuilt his brain's trust in them. He got to keep his independence. So, let's just tie all of this together. This is not about working harder, or pushing through pain, or spending hours and hours exercising. It's about working smarter. This table really sums it all up perfectly. Each movement targets a very specific breakdown in the system. The frog pole tackles that hip stiffness. The seated spiral addresses spinal rigidity. And the supine march corrects the neuromuscular imbalance. It's a complete, holistic approach that walking, by itself, just can't provide. So, the challenge here is simple, and the commitment is really small. Just 3 minutes every single morning for 2 weeks. That's it. Consistency is everything here. Your nervous system learns through daily repetition. If you can string together 14 days, you are going to feel a shift. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. This is about adapting your movement to match what your body needs right now. It's a patient, sustainable approach that gets results because it's designed to work with your physiology, not fight against it. So I'll leave you with this final question. When you look at these 3 movements, the hip-opening frog pull, the counterintuitive seated spiral, or the brain retraining supine march, which one of them surprised you the most? Think about what your own body might be missing and what a huge difference just 3 minutes could really make.